2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Berman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, the Eagles bounced back from a rough couple weeks, beating the Raiders every way possible. The playoff picture is looking good, and hopefully you've backed off the ledge just a little bit. We'll talk about that. The Flyers lost back-to-back shootouts this week before a big win on the road last night in Montreal, playing pretty solid hockey. The Sixers, your Sixers, Chet, they're 14-11 somehow, and, it might actually surprise a little bit if they can actually put all their players on the court at the same time. The Phillies made an outfield move earlier in the week, surprised with a relief pitcher today. Good bullpen move, it looks like. And I'm not sure what that means, but we'll find out. College football season and playoffs are underway. What a mess that is. We have plenty to talk about, as always, on Philly Sports.
Yeah, we do indeed, Bill. The intriguing Phillies signings, a couple of them, the Flyers and Sixers, both playing better than a year ago. Granted, that's a low bar. And the Eagles with a much-needed wall-to-wall victory in Week 15. No matter how crappy the opponent was, the Birds can hopefully get some momentum now as they gear up for the postseason. Hey, before we talk sports, Bill, how the hell are you? You missed last week with Ray Diddy and Phillies Nation's Brian Michael because you were having a rough go of it. So how you doing?
I am doing good. Feel a little bit better, and hopefully going to continue to get better. Had a little heart work done, But feeling better, headed on the right track, and I appreciate it. Listen to the show. Great job by you and great guests. Those guys are for sure.
Absolutely. Ray Diddy and a Phillies Nation guy. Come on, how can you go wrong?
Not that I agree with either one of them on some things, but
you don't agree with anybody.
Well, that's
you're
because they're wrong,
dude.
It's because they're wrong. What do you mean?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, well, we'll get back to that as we move along. But hey, we have a great guest returning tonight to talk Eagles. Is Zach Berman from The Athletic. I'm be interested to see if Zach is panicked like you, my friend.
I'm pretty sure I never used the word panic. We will discuss that in a little bit. But yeah, Zach is back with us for a fourth straight late season visit to the show to talk Birds and also about his brand new book about the team that he's covered the last 12 or 13 years called Leap Year, the Philadelphia Eagles Ascent to Super Bowl Champions. Always great to get Zach Berman's take on the Birds, including how he thinks they'll do in their bid to repeat, get back to the Super Bowl and win it all again.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, before we get to Zach, though, let's see if you, as we said, if you panicked yourself off the edge by now. I don't want to spend an hour trying to get you calmed back down. And I want to know, are you still killing Jalen Hurts like the rest of the Philadelphia media? What's wrong with you people?
All right, let me correct you on a couple of things, Bill. I did not panic. I said I was concerned. I was concerned. They lost 3 in a row. I merely said, as did Ray Didinger and several other guys who actually know their stuff, that there was reason for concern amid a 3-game skid that included the franchise quarterback playing perhaps his worst game as a pro, a rash of penalties in some of the recent games, and some other issues. Now, we can carry on. Yeah, he was the Super Bowl MVP in February, but, as they said, that was last season. He has not played like an elite quarterback most of this season, and he was frankly dreadful in the Chargers game and deserved to be criticized. Why are you hesitant to criticize this guy when he deserves it?
Well, I'm not hesitant to criticize him. I believe I wasn't on last week, but the week before I said I thought he played the worst game he'd ever played. Well, he topped that by playing even worse.
Well, there you
San
go.
Diego game. Well, I mean that's the facts.
Okay.
But with that said, it's a marathon. It's not a point-by-point game schedule. You're not going to win all your games. Was anybody wanting to run Patrick Mahomes out of town when his team wasn't making the playoffs? No. Was anybody wanting to run Josh Allen out of town because the Bills lose some games? No. Why does everybody think they have to run Jalen Hurts out of town? And all the guy does is do his job, and most of the time wins games.
Because this is Philadelphia, Bill. Has there ever been a quarterback in history that was not criticized by Philadelphia fans, especially since, talk radio and Twitter and all that came around?
Well, right. I get it. But this guy's already won a Super Bowl and been to another in just 5 years. And all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, he can't do anything right around here. And I just don't get the dislike, what appears to be dislike for Jalen Hurts. Almost to the point it's like a personal thing where they just don't like the guy. And the guy all he does is play.
Yeah. Look, I don't dislike the guy. I just question whether he is elite. And right now I'm going to say he's not. He's in that second tier. I think he's very close to the top guys. Patrick Mahomes didn't play like an elite quarterback much of this season either. So, we can debate that on and on and on. Just because he won the Super Bowl and was the MVP doesn't make him elite. It doesn't make him, a forever franchise quarterback Hall of Fame kind of guy. It means he's pretty darn good, though, and he is a good leader, and he certainly can have wonderful games like he did in both the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl last year. And he certainly played very well this past Sunday also.
I think you have to decide at some point what is elite. What makes you an elite quarterback?
That is a great question. I don't know. It's one of those things like, to me, pornography. You can't always identify it, but you know it when you see it, Bill.
Never quite thought of it like that.
My mind works a little different.
I'm going to have to chew on that to something else. You lost me there. We'll certainly talk more about Jalen Hurts, and
I'm getting lit up for Christmas, Bill.
Yeah, well, you are lit up for Christmas. There you go. I will say one other thing about your opening comment about beating up on the bad Raiders, and the Raiders are not very good. But how many times over the years have we seen the Eagles play down? They certainly didn't play down, and Jalen Hurts didn't play down. The offensive line, for the first time, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, allowed Hurts enough time to actually step into the pocket, step up and throw the football, and he looked fantastic. When you're running left and running right all the time, not easy throws to make.
Yeah, and he did play well. The O-line, even though they're banged up, they did play their best game in a while, which helped the running game. What do they have, like 47 rushes altogether, including some by Jalen, which is important. And I know Zach has thoughts about that. So all in all, that was a perfect game. Yeah, it was against the Raiders, but, I mean, that's the kind of football we want to see from the Eagles, and hopefully they can do that going forward in future weeks.
Yeah, one final point on the Raiders game, too, is Max Crosby is as good a player as in the National Football League. And they did a pretty nice job on him. He made some plays. He's going to, but Fred Johnson did a nice job on him. So, it's the Raiders, but there's some guys over there that can play, and the Eagles still did a nice job. All right, with that, you had a chance to visit with Zach Berman just this afternoon to talk Birds. How does Zach like the Birds headed down the stretch and into the playoffs?
Sounds to me, if I had to sum it up, that he is cautiously optimistic. So here's our interview from just a couple of hours ago. Always good to talk football with this guy who covers the Eagles and more for The Athletic, where he is a senior writer. It's Zach Berman. Zach, welcome back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
I forgot to tell you, it is Ugly Sweater Week here at Philly Pressbox Radio. So all lit up for the show, celebrating the holiday season. I didn't send you the memo. I'm sorry about that.
No, my wife wouldn't want me to wear an ugly sweater on here, but I appreciate it.
All right. Hey, you recently put out a new book about the 2024 Eagles season. There it is, leap year. We will talk about that very, very soon. But first, let's talk about the 2025 Birds, who had a bit of a rough go of it recently before Sunday's impressive rout of the awful Las Vegas Raiders. Now, with the 3-game skid behind them and that 31-0 shutout win, what can we say about this Eagles team? Is that all behind them, or they still have issues?
Well, we need to see how they respond against Washington in terms of the way they play, right? Especially on the offensive side.
Yeah.
But the reality is the situation they're in is a fairly enviable spot. It's something, if you had told anyone going into the year that they'd be playing in Week 16 for a chance to clinch the NFC East, and the likely scenario is the 2 or 3 seed, that's a real good situation. So even though it's been turbulent at times and it hasn't necessarily looked the way it should look, the fact that they're in this spot on December 17th, it's a positive for the Eagles. And going into the playoffs, that's exactly what you want is a home playoff game and a chance for more.
Zach, you were at practice this afternoon. What can you tell us about the status of Lane Johnson, who's been out for the last 4 weeks, maybe coming back soon, and any other injury concerns?
Yeah, Lane's still not practicing. So I can't tell you when he's going to return, but the fact that he's not out there it's a Wednesday, but it's a Thursday practice for the Eagles. The fact that he's not out there for a Thursday practice would seem to suggest that he's not going to be on the field Saturday. And so we'll see how that's going. He's still on the active roster. I mean, I'm expecting him back for the playoffs. I just can't tell you when that's going to be at this point. And then as far as the injury news, Jalen Hurts is not on the report. I think that's something that fans were curious about. And Saquon Barkley, who was on the injury report with a stinger injury, he is practicing today. So that's not something to be worried about either.
All right. All good news. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, we see the difference it makes when there are 3 or 4 called quarterback runs in a game. There's been some speculation that maybe Hurts doesn't want to run as much anymore. What is the deal, and does he need to run occasionally?
Well, I would say more than occasionally. I mean, I think part of what makes Jalen Hurts special, it's his legs, right? And I've spoken to Jalen about this in the past, about being a quote-unquote triple threat quarterback, his arm, his legs, and his mind. And if you take one of those away, he's not the same player, right? You could say he's 66% of the player, right? Because, it's 1/3 of kind of what he does. I'm not saying that he needs to run to be effective, but I think he's most effective when he does run. You saw it in this past game. It also has ramifications for the rest of the offense in that, Saquon Barkley, I think plays better. The running game's better when there's that threat of the quarterback run.
The A.J. Brown mini drama of a few weeks ago, is that all behind us now? Is everything good on that front?
It's the type of thing where when you win, people are happy, right? And that's we'll continue to monitor it. Like, this is what I can say about A.J. Brown. He's one of the best players in football. He's an elite wide receiver. When the ball is in his hands, good things tend to happen. So I'm much more into the football part of it than the soap opera part of it. But my view on it is that you need to do whatever you can to keep A.J. Brown engaged during games and, keep him happy, so to speak.
Let's talk about Dallas Goedert. We thought he might depart after last season, but he and the team eventually did work out a deal to bring him back. He is now 5th all-time in receptions among Eagles receivers, and he had a 2-touchdown game last Sunday. Should have been 3. How would you assess his season, and how important is Goedert to the Eagles going forward?
I think in the red zone, he's been a big weapon this year, and you've just seen it in terms of the numbers. The Eagles are using him in the low red zone more this year than the previous 4 seasons combined, basically. And it's been a threat for the Eagles, and it's something that they haven't, frankly, done enough of with Goedert in the past few years. He's always been a good tight end. His numbers overall aren't dramatically different this year. The big difference is the way they're using him in the red zone.
Over on the defensive side of the ball, how good are Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, both in just their second NFL seasons?
Yeah, they're terrific players, and they keep improving. And Quinyon, and it's in different ways, right? Quinyon is a shutdown type corner on the outside. He's been able to match up against top receivers and not just hold his own, but play exceedingly well. And, he's kind of that number one cornerback that the Eagles have long searched for. And then Cooper DeJean, you just hear the term football player. That comes through in a major way when you watch Cooper. He plays corner. He plays nickel. He can play safety when they need him to. He's such a sure tackler in the secondary. You don't see that often. He's instinctive. He's so athletic. He has real good size for the position. So the combination of the two of them really puts the Eagles secondary in a good spot for years to come.
What's your assessment of how Nakobe Dean has played since his return?
Yeah, better than I anticipated. And what I mean by that is he's coming off a major injury. The Eagles drafted Jahad Campbell in the first round. I thought Nakobe Dean was going to be a part-time player. I was wrong about that. It kind of started that way. He's been too good to take off the field. And Jahad Campbell has become kind of the part-time player. And, part-time might even be generous too. I'm real impressed with Nakobe. The explosiveness is still there. The instincts have always been there. He's such a smart player, such a physical player. He's been effective as a blitzer. So the combination of him and Zach Bond, it's terrific. I mean, I've been covering the Eagles for 14 years. I've seen a lot of bad linebacker play. I haven't seen a lot of standout linebacker play, and that's what the Eagles are getting right now.
Well, you mentioned Jahad Campbell, and that was my next question. Is it just Dean's, return and reemergence as far as why Campbell's not playing much? He was getting like 77% of the snaps early in the season. I think he got none against the Bears on the defensive side of the ball and just 6 or 7 this past week. So what's going on otherwise with Jahad Campbell? Is he okay? Is he still a big part of the future? What's his status?
Yeah, it's that they only play 2 linebackers, and they have Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, right? So they're finding ways to mix him in when they can. But this is just a numbers game, and I don't think it's a reflection of Jahad Campbell. I'm actually bullish on what I've seen from Jahad Campbell. He's built differently for that position in terms of the length that he has, the range that he plays with. But you have a good thing going with Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, and they don't want to disrupt that.
Speaking of guys they are mixing in, how about that Brandon Graham, the guy who wrote the foreword for your new book, by the way, recording not 1, but 2 sacks on Sunday in just 7 snaps. That's pretty efficient right there.
Absolutely, and it's coming from a different position too. They've moved him to defensive tackle. We've seen him rush from the interior at times in his career. Obviously, we saw that Super Bowl, the sack of Tom Brady in Super Bowl 52. But he's really doing it on a full-time basis right now with Jalen Carter injured. And he's always been a good player, but you kind of take the strength that he has, and now you add in the quickness and the leverage at his size from the interior, and he's been effective. You don't want 30 or 40 snaps from him there, but if he can give you some productive passing down snaps, and you saw that against the Raiders, that's a good thing for the Eagles.
For the second straight weekend, the Eagles will see a former backup quarterback of theirs running the opponent's offense, Marcus Mariota in this case, in for Jaden Daniels. Now, hard to believe this Commanders team, they're 4-10, is the team that the Eagles played in the NFC Championship last year. Will they provide any competition for the Birds this Saturday down in Landover?
It would surprise me. Look, it's the NFL. You never say never. But, Washington has not been a particularly good team this year. They're beat up right now. Like you said, they have Mariota, who I like as a backup quarterback, but he's not playing at the same level as Jaden Daniels was last year. And I think that was a team that was overachieving a year ago. There's been some regression to the mean this year for a lot of their players. I think defensively, they're really struggling. And I would be surprised if the Eagles lose to Washington, but look, the Eagles lost to Washington in Washington last year, so you never say never, but I think the Eagles clinch the NFC East on Saturday.
Well, even if the Eagles do win this Saturday, which we think they will, they're going to go into the final 2 weeks of the season, 2 games behind the winner of the Rams-Seahawks game, and if the Bears beat the banged-up Packers, essentially they'd be 2 games behind the Bears also because of the tiebreaker. Would that impact their approach to weeks 17 and 18, the games, in Buffalo and then at home against Washington? Or what will their approach be for those final couple of weekends?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one I've wondered. And Nick's obviously not going to get into Nick Sirianni's not going to get into that right now. I mean, knowing Nick, he probably won't get into it even that week. But I would guess that week 18 is probably a Tanner McKee game, and then week 17, they'd still play their guys against Buffalo. I don't know if you need 2 weeks off going into the playoffs, but I think they would try to be as fresh as they can. And there's in week 17 there's still a possibility, and I do think the 2 seed's far valuable than the 3 seed. The reason being because you want that home game in the second round, right? And so that's critical. We saw that with the Eagles last year. And so obviously the NFC Championship game, if that could be in Philly, that's a major advantage. You saw that with the Lions getting knocked off last year. Mm-hmm. But playing at home in the second round would be a big plus. I mean, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, especially if Chicago beats Green Bay. But you never know. And so that's why I think week 17, the Eagles would still play their guys.
All right. Well, Zach, after the Eagles won their second Super Bowl in 8 years last February, you cranked out another book about the Birds, Leap Year, the Philadelphia Eagles' Ascent to Super Bowl Champions. First of all, great cover for that book, recalling one of the most memorable plays of the season. Tell our viewers about the book.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The book takes you behind the scenes, not just of the Super Bowl season, but how they put that team together. And really, it takes you from the red confetti in 2023 to the green confetti in 2025. There's a chapter there on the collapse of the 2023 season and how that shaped the Eagles and some of the changes in that offseason, how they put that roster together, and then a week-by-week account of the season for the Eagles. And, it's the on-the-ground, in-the-moment reporting is so critical here because I think sometimes – fans and even the media, you can kind of sanitize or glorify the road to the Super Bowl, and you forget what it was like in the moment. The view of Nick Sirianni for fans might be different now than it was in week 5 last season, right? When the Eagles were 2-2. The way the Eagles fans felt in New Orleans after the Super Bowl is different than the way they felt in New Orleans earlier in the year. And then you can see, even the passing game as late as week 15 last season. And then there's cutaway chapters on Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter and Zach Bond and Darius Slay. I try to show who these players are underneath the helmet and kind of behind the scenes. So you see some of the characters that made that Super Bowl team special.
Makes a great Christmas or Hanukkah gift for Eagles fans, of course. Where can people find it? And do you have any more signings on the schedule?
Yeah, appreciate you asking. Anywhere books are sold, but I have a signing this Friday at PJP Marketplace up on Frankfurt Avenue in the Northeast. And then if you DM me on my social medias, whether ZBerm on social or on Twitter X, and then Z_ Berman on Instagram. And if you live out of town or you can't make a signing, we can arrange to get a signed copy to you as well.
All right, Zach, final minute, 3 and out. As we speak here on December 17th, what teams are most likely to meet in Super Bowl 60, February 8th in Santa Clara?
Good question. I would say the Rams and the Bills at this point. Those would be the 2 teams I would go with.
All right, then I have to ask you, number 2, how far will the Eagles go most likely in the postseason?
Right now, I'm going to say the NFC Championship game.
All right, third and final question. 'Tis the season, Zach. What is your favorite holiday movie?
My favorite holiday movie, growing up, I would probably say Home Alone. If that qualifies, I was a big Home Alone fan growing up. Probably more Home Alone 2 than Home Alone. I liked the New York part of it, right? I mean, if you're a kid, the idea of that toy store was like the coolest thing in the world, right? And the big hotel. I've never been to the Plaza Hotel, but it seemed pretty amazing in that movie. So probably Home Alone 2 off the top of my head.
All right, we'll go with that. Hey, folks, read Zach in The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter or X at ZBerm, and check out his book, as we said, Leap Year, the Philadelphia Eagles' Ascent to Super Bowl Champions. Thanks for doing this once again, Zach. Happy holidays, and go Birds.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, good stuff right there from Zach.
Always, always.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty well on board with where this thing's going. NFC Championship,
I would take that. I mean, you want a Super Bowl, certainly, but
yeah. Well, I tell you, if the Rams are playing pretty good ball.
They are. That Rams-Seahawks game is going to be huge this weekend.
And I watched the Seahawks this week against the Colts, and the Seahawks scored 0 touchdowns. They kicked 6 field goals to win that game in overtime.
How about that? Spoiled Phil Rivers.
Or at the gun, I should say, not in overtime. But, so, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. That Rams offense is pretty good. But remember, Chet, what is today's date? December 17th.
December 17th, yes.
Bill, your partner, said December 17th at 7:26 p.m., defense wins championships. Write it down.
Okay. Speaking of the Super Bowl, there's the current odds as of yesterday. The Rams are the favorites. Seahawks in second. The Broncos third. Then the Bills. Eagles fifth at plus 1,100, Bill. Go into your wallet right now, Bill. Take out 100, throw it on the Eagles, and you win some nice change.
Yeah, you would. And another team, the Denver Broncos, are a little sneaky. I mean, they're playing good ball too, and
good young quarterback, good defense.
Yeah, everybody wants to love the Bills. Be careful of those Denver Broncos.
Yeah, not sure about the Bills anymore. I mean, they did get by the Patriots, which you and I both thought wasn't going to happen, but
yeah, and they fell way behind in that game too.
They did. Some good football over the weekend.
Yes, sir. All right, Chet. Philly Press Box is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep. You can find Philly Press Box Radio there, in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be.
Yeah.
Hey, Chet, it's the holidays. You already got your all lit up, fugly sweater on. What's going on at the Irish Rover Station House? Because I believe this weekend is even fugglier sweater night.
I have far uglier ones than this, Bill. But yeah, the Irish Rover Station House, I do. Over in Langhorne, you know I love that place. Terrific food, always 24 beers on tap. Killer Burger Thursdays, dinner specials Thursday through Sunday. Music most weekends this Saturday, courtesy DJ Lennox. And yes, coming up tomorrow, it's going to happen, Bill. Thursday evening, it is the annual Irish Rover Ugly Sweater Party, where you can be ugly and maybe even get rewarded for it. They give out prizes for the best few costumes on folks in attendance. So wear your ugly sweater. You just may come home with a prize. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne and on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. And with that, I'm going to give you, how about a little Ray Diddy tonight? Can I find Ray Diddy? No, I can't find him. So what? Here.
Hey, everybody. This is David Ossikin, the drummer of the Hooters. You're watching Bill and Chet on Philly Press Box Radio. Go Phillies. Go Birds. I'll see you at the concert.
And you know what, Bill? The Irish Rover Ugly Sweater Party Thursday evening. I will be there. And I chose that one, David Ossikin of the Hooters, because he and a whole bunch of other great local musicians and even some from out of the area are at the Fillmore in Philadelphia tonight, honoring Pierre Robert with a sold-out concert there. It is also streaming worldwide. You pay $10 for that. I'm paying $10 for it. I did. It's on in the basement right now, and it'll be available to me for the next 48 hours. So as soon as we're done here tonight, I'll be watching the rest of the Pierre Robert concert featuring the Hooters and guys from Collective Soul, Dirty Honey, et cetera, et cetera. Great stuff in memory of the legendary Pierre.
Very good. Hey, I did want to ask you something. Maybe I didn't understand you correctly, but did you say that you could go to the Irish Rover Station House and be ugly?
Yeah. Be ugly.
Were you talking about your sweater, or were you just going to go and be ugly?
Hey, you told me you don't own a single sweater. Come on. I know you have sweatshirts, but you got to have a couple of sweaters, even if they're not ugly ones.
Not one.
I know you live in Florida now, but still, everybody's got a couple of sweaters.
Chad, I'll tell you what. I don't have 5 long sleeve shirts.
Wow.
Ever.
That's crazy.
Like if you look at Christmas pictures when I used to come up north, like you could get them from 7 years apart. I'd be wearing the same shirt because I don't have them. And the last time I wore it was the time that time. I just don't have. I don't have a need for them. I don't have that many pair of long pants.
I have way too many clothes, first of all, but I do have probably 40 sweaters, and about 18 to 20 of them would fall into the ugly sweater category. So I got to clean out my closet one of these days.
I wasn't kidding when I told you that. That's actually the truth. I said, I don't have that many pairs of long pants other than what I have to wear when I go to work. So
yeah, there's
that. Hey, let's talk about your Philadelphia 76ers, Chad. I'm starting to feel like there might be like a pulse coming out of that team. If they could get healthy together. They're 14-11. They haven't played together. Maybe they're teasing us. But, you know, Maxey still playing great. He was sick the other night, 31.5 a game. And Bean is averaging almost 21 points a game, Chet.
In 26 minutes a game.
In 26 minutes. And Paul George is averaging 17 points a game in 26 minutes. And Kelly Oubre is been banged up. He's missed half the games, but he's scoring. This team, maybe if they could get on the court together and play together, maybe there's something there. What do you think?
Well, that is the thing. They have yet to have all of the core guys healthy and active at the same time this season. 25 games in. Oubre's been out for a few weeks now. Paul George missed the first part of the season and still needs an occasional night off. He did have that 35-point game in the loss last Sunday. McCain is playing a little better now, but still not looking like the terrific rookie that he was the first couple of months of the last season before he got hurt. Maxey, as you mentioned, has been sick. He missed the last 2 games, but they haven't played since Sunday, so hopefully he'll be back this Friday when they finally get back to the court. And, of course, there's the big guy who, as you mentioned, has 20 points or 21.5 or 20.5 points a game in just 26 minutes per game, but he's only played in 11 of the 25 games. He sometimes looks like his old self. Other times he looks like an old man. He did score 39 points in a win last Friday, but other times he looks like he can barely move out there. So he's going to still need, occasional games off. He'll probably come back this Friday and then need the next game off. It is what it is. He's going to be in and out of the lineup all season. I'm sure of it. And once you get to the playoffs, then you're going to want him there. But I don't know if he's ever going to play 5 or 6 games in a row again. And who knows if Paul George will stay healthy. I'm not going to put in for playoff tickets just yet, Bill. Although right now they are, I think, the 6th or 7th seed in the East. So
they're 6th, and they're interesting. They're 6 or 6.5 games out of first place, but they're 1 game out of 3rd place. So Detroit's in the lead. The Knicks are 2.5 back, and then Toronto's 5.5 back. So they're in the hunt somehow. I don't get it. I don't know how it's happening, but other than Tyrese Maxey's been carrying the load.
PJ's a fan. PJ likes watching Paul George play. He watched the game Sunday night. I totally forgot about the Sunday evening game after that exciting Eagles game. I totally forgot to watch the Eagles. They took it to the wire but lost to the Hawks. Paul George, though, 35 points. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll follow him. We're still a long way to go. Plenty long way.
Denny says, what the hell? Do you ever go somewhere cold? You don't take sweaters or long shirts?
Well, I put on a jacket. I do have a jacket. And I have a hoodie. I wear, I have a hoodie I wear, something like that. Or I just wear a little heavier long sleeve shirt type thing. But, it's like this morning I wore a jacket to work because it was like 52 degrees. By the time I came home, it was 78. So I have it under my arm, and I bring it back in and sit it there so I can put it back on in the morning. And tomorrow's going to be 80 here in the Sunshine State, Chet.
We got 5 inches of snow here in Jersey, where I live, last Saturday night, Sunday morning. 5 inches of snow, Bill. I did not like that.
No. I'd like looking at pictures of it. It was pretty good, but I can tell you, while you were out maybe shoveling, Chet, I did not have to shovel any sunshine.
Well, yeah, that is true.
Okay. Hey,
Let's
what
go
could be
tailgating,
better,
Bill.
though, than December Eagles tailgating with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly tailgates.
I'll tell you, I would not want to be out tailgating this past Sunday when it was bitterly cold, still some flurries coming down. Sorry, Cav, but couldn't make that one. Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years. Known best for their tailgate parties, Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it, Cav will cater it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles games outside the link. And yes, there will be one on Sunday, January 4th, the regular season finale, when the Eagles and Commanders play what we expect will be a pretty meaningless game, but hell, you can still go tailgate and have a good time. Get details on all events at Cavs website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
January 4th will be pretty chilly, I'm thinking, down there.
I would think so.
Hey, Chet, the Flyers lost 4 of their last 5 before last night's nice win in Montreal. All losses, though, by 1 goal, 2 of them in shootouts, 1 in overtime. They're playing good hockey, but these 1-goal games are too close every night. They're in the hunt.
Yeah, just like the Sixers. The Eastern Conference, again, like the NBA, really tightened up, bunched up right now. The Flyers, though, are the first of the 2 wild card teams. So if the season were to end right now, they'd be in there. And as you said, they're in just about every game. Some tough losses recently in overtime or in shootouts, but that at least does get them a point, of course. Some of those losses against some really good teams, too. So they are showing they can play with just about everybody in the league. Dan Vladar has been really, really good in goal. Trevor Zegras, now 4 straight games with a goal. Danny Briere has had a really good offseason with the additions of Vladar, Zegras, center Christian Dvorak, etc. All those moves have really paid off, Bill.
Yeah, they have. And they still really don't have Michkov really up and going yet. He's got 8 goals. They've lost Tyson Forster for an extended period of time.
Yeah, he's going to be out for the season now, it looks like.
Is it for the season? I saw
they just said 5 months.
surgery.
So unless they're in a deep, deep playoff run, which takes you to May, you won't see him again till the fall.
Yeah, so that's a big loss for them. But they're playing solid. They're playing solid on defense. As you mentioned, Zegras, Konechny having a nice year again. They're playing together. Dvorak, as you mentioned, also, and Tippett. Those guys they're playing well, and I believe they're gaining a lot of confidence. They're bringing some young people into the fold too that are playing well, and that's good as well. They're mixing up their lines, putting veterans with some young people, and doing some good things.
Let me ask you what you think about this. Our pal Joe, a.k.a. Kid Camden, saying the Flyers' chances of making the playoffs are better than the Sixers' chances. That is a good question. Do you agree with that? It's close.
Yeah, I think it's close. I mean, the Flyers is just going to be, can they continue to play well? For the Sixers is, can they continue to be healthy?
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you look at the talent-wise, who's playing who, the Sixers should be in the playoffs while the Flyers are trying to get to the playoffs. But the Flyers are playing every night, playing well, and the Sixers, you never know what you're going to get. So it is a tough question there.
Yes, it is. Hey, you know what, Bill?
Oh, no.
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to sneak this in. We have our weekly picks, of course, still to come, and a little Phillies talk also, so you want to stick around for that. But I've got to take a couple of quick minutes, Bill, for a random chat because I just thought it was timely and something that should be done. So here we go. Like many TV and movie fans, I was shocked and saddened by the news Sunday that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle had been found dead in their Los Angeles home. Murdered, we found out later, allegedly by their 32-year-old son, Nick. Horrible news indeed. And in the days since, it got me thinking about the amazing career Rob Reiner had, a career that began in the 1960s with guest appearances on TV comedies of that era, like That Girl, The Beverly Hillbillies, Gomer Pyle, and even The Partridge Family, before he got that iconic role of Mike, a.k.a. Meathead, on the 1970s perennial #1 show All in the Family, for which he won 2 Emmy Awards. Who among folks in my age bracket didn't watch All in the Family? Not many. In the 1980s, then, Reiner tried his hand at directing movies, and he succeeded immediately. His first 4 films, the legendary mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, Stand By Me, and The Princess Bride, all hits and all critically acclaimed. In all, Rob Reiner directed 22 movies, and I saw exactly half of them. I enjoyed every single one of the 11 that I saw. I was going to try to rank them top to bottom, but I just couldn't do it. 4 that I enjoyed but wouldn't be in my tip-top 7 would be The Sure Thing, Ghosts of Mississippi, and his 2 most recent projects, 2023's Albert Brooks, Defending My Life, and the long-awaited Spinal Tap sequel, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, which hit theaters a mere 3 months ago. The other 7 were all amazing, and if there's any of these you haven't seen, do yourself a favor and find them and find the time to watch them. And by the way, how did Reiner not get a single Best Director nomination for any of these films? Damn. Those 7 films, alphabetically: The American President, the classic A Few Good Men, the terrific thriller Misery, the very funny 1987 fan favorite, The Princess Bride, the great coming-of-age drama Stand By Me, that aforementioned mockumentary about a fictional heavy metal band, This Is Spinal Tap, and, of course, the memorable Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan rom-com, When Harry Met Sally. All of them excellent. Clearly, Rob Reiner was no meathead in real life. Thanks for all the entertainment over the last half-century plus.
There's some
Bill,
good movies there now.
I bet even you saw a few of those, right?
I did. I probably saw the first 5 or 6. There was one you had up there I didn't know about. I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was like your number 7 maybe or something like that. But yeah, good movies, top of the line stuff for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. Rest in peace, Mr. Rob Reiner and Miss Reiner as well. Chet, time to make our weekly picks. Woo! You know, I said to you before we see how we did with Boop, Bob Patron Jr., and you and I on week 14, I heard your comments last week about me going 0-5. I heard that. But what did I tell you? It's probably as hard to go 0-5 as it is to go 5-0.
It really is.
We've set a new bar going 0-5. That's darn near impossible.
Yeah, I think that was the first time that ever happened in our little contest over
and
the
hopefully
years.
The last time it ever happens to me.
Yeah. Anyway, none of us did great last week. You and I were both 2-3. Boop picked the Bills while we picked the Patriots. So he went 3-2. He did pick up a game on the guy at the top of the standings. That is me. Still, I'm up by 3 games on Boop. Bill, unfortunately, you are 7 back with just 3 weeks to play. Not looking good for you, pal.
No, it's not looking very good. And, you know, it's funny because as I watch these games each week, and I'm like, these games, and maybe this is just me, nothing to do with picks. These games stink. There's not a lot of great teams that you can say this team is going to be, like Seattle beating the Colts by kicking 6 field goals. And Seattle's supposed to be a good team. They're not a good team. And
the Colts with a 44-year-old quarterback who they just pulled in off the street,
Right. And, who is it? Tampa Bay the week before has to just roll the Saints to continue onto the playoffs. Yeah, they get beat. They stink too. It's just, there's just Patrick Mahomes is done. The Chiefs are done. There's just not a lot of greatness that I see. And I think when you come to try, you can't even pick winners. Well, forget the points. I would never be a bettor. You can't even pick winners because these games are just kind of off the wall to me.
Bob is still in your corner, and Joe says
Thanks,
there's
Bob.
a ton of lousy teams. Yeah, a lot of lousy teams and no dominant teams, as you said. It is wide open this year.
Yeah. So just to clarify how we make our picks this year, we pick the winners of 5 games every week, no point spreads. Always the NFC East games, always the Sunday night football game. We throw in the additional games to get to 5 this particular week because there are supposed to be some good matchups. We went to 6 games, and we're covering Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, there's Saturday NFL football this week, including those Eagles. So our add-ons. Rams at Seahawks on Thursday night football. The Rams -1.5. What do you have, Chet?
Let's see what Boop has. I got Boop's picks. Have not looked at him as yet. You said Rams Seahawks first, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Boop says Seattle is trying to avenge its only loss since October 6th. They will send the NFC West race into a tizzy. Boop's pick is the Seahawks.
Wow.
Wait, Seattle just won? Seattle just beat Indy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that is some bad info by Boop. He said trying to avenge its only loss since oh no, wait, I guess they lost to the Rams?
They lost to the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Boop. All right. Yeah, he's going with the Seahawks. I'm going to go the other way. I think the Rams are going to show that they are the best team in the NFC. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I've gone against the Rams because I haven't thought they were all that good all year long, and I've gone against them a handful of times. I'm not going against them here. I'm going to go with the Rams in this game.
Next.
All right, Packers at the Bears. This is an interesting one. Saturday night football after the Eagles game. Packers -1.5 at Soldier Field.
That's going to be a good night of football. Eagles and Washington. Hopefully not a good game as far as the America is concerned, but as far as Eagles fans are concerned, we're hoping for a blowout again. Yep. And then, this Packers-Bears game, very intriguing. Boop says Green Bay wrests back control of the NFC North, at least for a little while. His pick is the Packers. Again, Boop and I differ. I'm going with the home team here. I'm taking the Bears. The Bears.
I want to take the Bears but I'm not going to. I'm going to take the Packers. It's because I'm not a Caleb Williams believer yet.
Yeah.
If there's a weak point on that squad at this point, to me, it's Caleb Williams. Not that I love Jordan Love either, but I'm going to go Packers in this one. Patriots at the Ravens, Sunday night football. Somehow the Ravens are -3 in this game.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that because I think the Patriots are for real, even though they just lost a tough one to the Bills.
They played well.
They did. Yeah. All right. Boop says, you are not really an NFL quarterback until you lose a game your team led by 3 touchdowns. Yeah, it happens to everybody. His pick is the Patriots. I'm taking the Patriots also on the road.
Yeah, I am too. The Ravens have not been playing good ball. The only reason they're hanging around is because the Steelers are playing equally as bad ball. That's why it's even close. Vikings at the Giants. What about the Vikings just rolling Dallas? Vikings -3.
Oh, those Cowboys. All right. Boop says New York's last victory was the day the Phillies were eliminated in the NLDS. Wow. A day all Philadelphians would like to forget.
Wow.
Boop's pick is the Vikings. Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota too. I think the Giants have pretty much cashed in the season. They are looking for that number 1 pick.
Yeah, well, I agree. Not that I like the Vikings that much either, except last week I liked them a lot. But, Giants are bad. Chargers at Dallas. How is Dallas favored by 1.5 points?
Another mystery. All right, let's see. Boop says, by the time they tee it up on Sunday, the NFC East title will be safely locked away. San Diego, really, LA, still has eyes on the AFC West and a Week 18 date with the division-leading Broncos. Boop's pick is the Chargers. I went back and forth on this one. I thought the Cowboys might rebound, but in the end, I also took the Chargers to win this one.
I picked the Cowboys several weeks in a row here down the stretch. That's why I keep losing, because I keep thinking they're going to be better than they are, and they're not. They're just not. Even though they can do a couple things on offense, they can't do anything on defense, and then they get average on offense. I'm going Chargers.
All right.
Eagles, Commanders. We're back to Saturday. 5:00 kick for you folks out there that don't know the game time. Eagles -6.5.
I have a hunch we're all going to agree on this one. Boop says, should be another layup here, but you know what they say in the NFL. On any given Saturday, this will mark 5th different day of the week the Birds have played on this season. Yeah, they've played every day except Tuesday and Wednesday this year. Crazy schedule. And it's like the 5th short week or something like that too, which is crazy. Boop's pick is the Eagles. My pick is the Eagles. I'm going to predict your pick is also the Eagles.
And not only are they going to cover, I told you they were going to cover that 11.5 or whatever. They're going to cover, and they're going to be big in this game. Yeah,
this is only a 6.5 point line. That surprised me. I thought it would be closer to 8.5 or 9, but Eagles will cover. I agree.
Yeah, and Marcus Mariota will be the quarterback for Washington in this game.
Yep.
All right. That gets us to our margin of victory pool. How are the standings after week 14? I think we all had the same picks last week, right?
We did. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks in a row. So no change in the standings. Here's how it went down. Last week, we all picked the San Francisco 49ers. The previous week, we all picked Tampa and lost that one. This time we won. The Niners gave us each 13 points. Yeah, 13. I can't read my own print there.
Yep,
13. So Boop is still in first, 182. He's 33 ahead of me, and you're 13 behind me. So that makes you 46 behind him. We need some help here, Bill, and I don't think we're going to get it. And I'll tell you why, because this coming weekend, there are a couple of big favorites, and both you and Boop still have them available. So that being the case, I have a hunch that you're probably going to have the same picks.
Well, I don't think we are, because actually I know who, or I think I know who he's picking. I think I know who you're picking. And I'm not picking either one of them.
All right, well, let's see. There are 2 double-digit favorites, I said. Neither you nor Boop has used either one of these 2, but I did use one of them. So Buffalo, I cannot pick. So my pick has to be Houston, which should crush the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
Let's see what Boop says.
I have picked Buffalo, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think if you look back there somewhere around week 5 on that sheet you just had up there.
Okay.
I believe I have used them.
And Boop's pick is also the Houston Texans. So Boop and I both picked Houston. And Bill?
Put that sheet back up there. You just threw me for a loop.
Let's see. Margin of victory.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. All right. I am taking those Philadelphia Eagles.
You didn't take them yet, huh?
Apparently not. That's why I wanted to double check. So I've got the Eagles, because I'm going to tell you what, Chad, I knew you were picking Houston, but I really thought that Boop was taking those Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah, because you and I both used Buffalo already, but Boop did not.
I had Boop with Buffalo, you with Houston, with the 2 big spreads, and I was going to stay away from you guys because I need to pick up some points.
Yeah.
So I'm taking those Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, and I did not cheat and look at Boop's pick in advance, or I may have gone a different way if I did, but he picked Houston, I picked Houston, so I'm not going to gain any ground. Oh, well.
There you go. All right. I actually put a second of thought into that whole thing, believe it or not. Hey, Chet, since Christmas Eve is next Wednesday, we have a schedule change back to Tuesday next week. And who's coming to Philly Press Box Radio next week to join us for our Christmas show?
Yeah, we're going to keep confusing people, Bill. We're going from Wednesday to Tuesday. And
the calendar's not our friend.
Yeah, so the next 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, because of Christmas and New Year's, we will be doing Tuesday shows. And next week, we're going to talk lots of Eagles football again, because that's what we do when it's football season. This time with a gentleman who played the game for both the Eagles and those Philadelphia and Baltimore Stars back in the day, talking about our pal Ken Dunnick. So Ken Dunnick will be back on the show with us, and I hope he wears that jacket when he comes on the show, because I love that.
There you go. Hey, we got to throw this up there right quick, Chet. Next Wednesday is Miss Elsa's birthday. So
that's right. I know she's right before Christmas Eve, every year.
Right?
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Good stuff.
Phillies
made an alpha move, signing free agent Adolis Garcia. They backed that up again today by signing that relief pitcher from the Cubs, Brad Keller. Keller put up some big numbers. It looks like he's going to be slotted as the right-handed setup man, the eighth inning guy, because I think they might have run out of patience with Orion Kirkering in that spot.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Here's the thing. They're losing Castellanos, although I don't know where he's going, but
they're giving him away. Yeah, they're giving him away.
So they're bringing in Garcia, who had a so-so last couple of years. He's 32, I believe. He's got some power, but like Castellanos, he's going to strike out a lot. In his favor, he is definitely a better fielder than Castellanos. So I don't know. He's not an average hitter. He hits like 230 or so every year. So they signed him to a 1-year deal. We'll see what we get. And according to Dave Dombrowski, it's going to be him in right field, assuming he wins the job, which he should, and Justin Crawford in center, and then maybe a platoon of Marsh and Kemp in left. How do you like that outfield, Bill? I'm not totally sold on that.
Stinks.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, it stinks.
What have you done to get better?
Not a thing.
If you look at that, you lost some power in Castellanos. Garcia is going to have to show us what he can do. Crawford has nothing but upside, but he hasn't done
singles hitter. He's a singles hitter too. So,
but he hasn't had a big league at bat yet.
Not a one.
So to hang your hat there is definitely, he's going to struggle because he's a rookie. It happens.
Yeah, and they still haven't signed JT, although we all assume he's coming back. But
yeah, I'm not in love with Castellanos by any means, but I'm not unless he is a real clubhouse problem. I'm not for just giving away $20 million and making him go away. I'm just not for that. I don't know that you're getting better with what you got right now.
We agree on that front. As for the pitcher, the right-handed relief pitcher, Brad Keller, he had a very, very good 2025 season, but he's also not a kid. He is, I believe, 30 or 32, something like 30. Mm-hmm. He's 30. Before this year, he wasn't really that good. His career record, 42-59. In 2023, he was 0-4 with a 5.44 ERA. But as you said, he was very good this year, 4-2 with a 2.07 ERA. And Cubs fans say he was really, really good. He only gave up runs in 7 of his 67 appearances or something like that.
And over his strikeout an inning.
Yeah.
He can throw.
So more of that, we hope.
Again, you got it. The whole baseball philosophy messes me up because every year you have your couple bullpen guys you're going to keep, and then you're going to clear everybody else out and bring new guys in and put them all on 1-year deals. And that's the way baseball works these days, and I'm not a real fan of that. But is what it is. But back to the outfield. What I haven't seen anything. I actually looked on Harrison Bader. What's the word on him? Is he coming back?
It doesn't sound like it now that they've brought in Garcia. They haven't said he's not coming back, but Dombrowski didn't mention him at all. I don't think he is. And, maybe they just got a career half year out of him. It was his best few months probably of his career. He's been kind of a, middle of the road guy before that anyway. Bill, we got to wrap it up soon. But before we do, since we're talking about the Phillies, I want to mention something. It's sort of a little bit of an announcement. I'm not sure whether you or our viewers know this, but for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been a member of the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association, and the annual awards banquet of the PSWA is coming up next month at the Doubletree by Hilton in Cherry Hill, with honorees to include ESPN anchor Kevin Negandhi, Penn Hoops coach Fran McCaffrey, the legendary Lou Scheinfeld. What a history he's got with the Flyers and beyond. Broad Street bully extraordinaire Dave the Hammer Schultz. And just confirmed, this is the announcement, just confirmed yesterday, the PSWA Pro Athlete of the Year is this guy, the Phillies left-hander and Cy Young runner-up, Christopher Sanchez. He will be in attendance to accept his Pro Athlete of the Year award, so that'll be very cool. And again, the PSWA 2026 banquet will happen Wednesday, January 21st at the Doubletree by Hilton, and you can get your tickets at phillysportswriters.com, so check it out.
Yeah, very good stuff. Hey, Chet, before we finish up, because we're out of time, college football playoffs begin this Saturday with 3 games. You care to make a prediction on who's going to win this whole thing?
All right, there's the playoffs right there. I would think, Bill, that Ohio State will get revenge and beat Indiana in the final if that's who gets to the final. Not surprisingly, the Buckeyes are the betting favorites at plus 225, with Indiana second at plus 220 or 275. Georgia would be third among what the Vegas folks say at plus 500. So, yeah, if I had to make a pick, I would say Ohio State. What say you, Bill?
Well, that Georgia-Ohio State game is going to be a dandy if they get to each other, which it looks like they should. I'm kind of interested to see the Oklahoma-Alabama winner play Indiana too. One final thought on that, though. How do you feel about the two teams that are, what are they, 16.5 and 20.5 point dogs? When
we're supposed to be
getting
and James Madison?
Yeah, when we're supposed to be getting the top 12 teams, and you've got some teams sitting at home.
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit at the end of the show last week. It's kind of like when a division winner in football gets in with a 7-8 or 7-9 or 8-9 now record. You know, it's just the way it's set up with the conferences and whatnot. It's a great opportunity for these teams, but then you leave out the Notre Dames and the Miamis, who, you know, are clearly better teams. So it is what it is, but I don't want to see it expanded beyond 12 teams. I like the fact that the 4 best teams do get the first round bye. Then you have the other 8 fighting it out. I'm okay with it, even though it does kind of seem weird to have these so-so teams in there.
Yeah, I read one thing just late this afternoon that's interesting. You talk about the 4 teams getting the byes.
Yeah.
Economic impact for them not hosting a game is somewhere in the $79 to $80 million range for their local communities.
Wow.
They're going to change that. They're not going to let that keep happening. People in Columbus and Athens would probably love to have $75 million going into their coffers in their local businesses.
Well, I know what you'll be doing this weekend, watching lots of football, Bill. By the way, best of luck to Villanova, which hosts an FCS semifinal game this weekend. So good luck to them. One final thing, Bill, a birthday to celebrate on Thursday. This guy, that was him at 24, and then at like 74, 50 years later, he's never going to die, Bill. No. It's Keith Richards.
Man.
82 tomorrow, 82 on Thursday. Go get him, Keith.
That's a picture of what a great body, great genes is from when you can abuse yourself and still be hanging around.
Yeah, 82 on Thursday. Way to go.
All right,
it up, Bill.
Let's wrap this thing up. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Zach Berman, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC, 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Tuesday night, December 23rd at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds. Let's go Flyers, and let's go Sixer.
Happy trails to you till we meet again.